It's been a long time since the Beavercreek High School football program was 5-0. In fact, it's been 40 years. The last time the Beavers were undefeated this far into the season, it was 1968. Last year, Creek had its first winning season at 6-4 since 1991, and things haven't slowed down for the Beavers this season. We caught up with head coach Scott Clodfelder and quarterback Tim Carroll to discuss Beavercreek's progression. Eric France with J.J. Huddle here with Beavercreek High School head coach Scott Clodfelder. And Coach, you guys are 5-0 right now. Been a long time since Beavercreek's been 5-0. 1968, I believe, is the year. Talk about the feeling in general right now around the community.
Well, there's a real positive feeling right now in the community. We're just real happy for the kids. This is our fifth year here, and each year they progressed and got better, and they've worked very hard, and we feel that we work as hard as anybody in the state, and we feel that we're earning some respect and earning the right to be 5-0, and we realize we have a long way to go, but we're excited where we're at.
Hey, you mentioned this is your fifth year here. I know the team that you inherited, or rather the program, coming off an 0-10 season, 2-28 stretch over 3 years. That first year you won 3 games. I think you were a couple points away from being 5-5. You had some success right off the bat, but you've steadily got better. What's been the biggest transitional thing for you?
I think the biggest difference is we work so hard that the kids don't want to lose, and I think that we have very high expectations on and off the field. And there's an old saying, when you work real hard, you don't want to surrender and lose. And I think that's been the biggest difference, is we had to change the mentality of the work ethic, and we've done that. And we've made football important in their lives, and I think that's helped us get better. But we're still not where we want to be. We've got a long way to go, but we're excited to be 5-0.
I went to Bellbrook, at Greene County School. When I was in high school, Beavercreek was, to put it blunt, not very good at football at all. Some people might question that, though. You're a big school, one of the biggest schools in Dayton, one of the biggest schools in the state. When you came here, you mentioned that mentality of winning. I mean, I would assume that numbers were something that you had here, but yet just in general that mindset was something that you really had to work on.
Well, yeah, it was a mindset, and I think the biggest problem that we had when we took over was the weight room. I think that we didn't really have a significant weight room program all year round. They did it, and that's really what we changed. We brought it in, and we're going 11 months a year now. It's not, at certain times we don't lift, and so I think that's been the major difference. And then, as I said earlier, when you start to understand what it's like to win, and you have fun winning, and we celebrate after wins, we get crazy when we win a game, and because we only have 10 a year. And we're going to do everything we can to win those games, because we work too hard not to give our best, not to give the effort that we need to win, and so that's what changed. I think was our weight room program, and then we did a lot of reading of books, and we did a lot of mental training, a lot of salesmanship in the hallways by the coaches, and making sure they understood that this is important stuff, and then they responded real well.
You're 5-0 now. I know that's not the goal, is to finish 5-5. Obviously, you want to keep winning. GWAC games in conference start this week. It's going to get a little bit tougher for you guys. I mean, the competition's going to ratchet up a little bit. How do you close out the season?
Well, you do go one at a time. This week, we got Fairmont this week, and that's a real big game for us. And we just want to continue to get better each week. We believe that if you don't turn the ball over and don't have penalties, you have a chance to win in every game, including the big three, as I call them: Northmont, Wayne, and Centerville. So we still got to wade through some murky waters here, to get, so to speak, to reach our potential this year. But we want to take each game one at a time. And again, people are, we haven't played anybody, we haven't played this, and I think we played some good teams this year so far. But you got to prove it every week. You lose one game, you're back to being old Beavercreek, and that's the mentality around the area. So we got to, and if that happens, we got to pick it up and win the next week.
And talk about the caliber of football players you've got here now. I mean, the last couple of years you had Zach last year, you had D the year before that. You've lost those guys, but you've been able to find replacements.
Well, that's interesting you bring that up, because a lot of people thought this year we lost Zach that we would go back to regular Beavercreek, and we haven't done that. The reason is because our kids, they've been working really hard. But this year we have 5 or 6 kids that we don't mind getting the ball to. Really, our offense is better now because we're more multiple than we've been in the past. 2 years ago it was kind of give the ball to D, and last year it was kind of give the ball to Zag. Where right now we're in a situation where I have 5 or 6 guys that we can get the ball to, and I feel comfortable. Everything's open to me, so our the caliber of players, and they've always been good athletes, but we're building them. They come in as freshmen. I think in the past it's kind of you come in as a freshman at 170 pounds, you leave at 170 pounds, and you never get developed. Here, you come in at 170, you're going to leave at 230, and can move. And that's what's happening right now.
And we mentioned again your 5-0 league start, and I assume the guys are pretty fired up for that. It's been a long time since people have talked about being competitive with Centerville and Northmont and Wayne. But heading into those games, you may not be the favorite, but people aren't going to be surprised if, say, you pull one out.
Well, we may. That's the measuring stick. Those 3 schools are what people measure against, and I've made it. Our team feels that we're not going to be satisfied until that gets done. Maybe this year, it might be in 10 years, but we're not going to quit working until we get the job done, and that includes getting a few of those teams to beat a few of those, and that's our goal, and I think that we can reach that. But again, they're class programs. They're hard to beat. They work as hard as we do, and you gotta have a little luck, and hopefully we'll get some of that.
You guys are off to a 5-0 start this year. We mentioned Domicone. Some people probably thought maybe you guys weren't going to be 5-0 when you lose a caliber like that, an Ohio State recruit. Talk about the mentality on your team this year and what's enabled you guys to be 5-0 at this point.
This year it's all about team. We've strived to just perfection all off season. We've worked hard all off season. Once he left, we knew that we'd have to have an offense more, not around just one player. So we really started to take toll on that and do the best we could.
Coming into the season, I know every team probably shoots for an undefeated season, all that stuff. Talk about that Week 2 win against Carroll. I would assume that was kind of maybe the springboard that planted it in your guys' heads that, hey, maybe we might be pretty good this year.
We knew that Carroll was a team that we had to beat this year and to get to the next step. And so we came out, we played a great game, and that really gave us a big motivation boost going into the rest of the season, which really could have helped us get to where we are now.
How tough was that delay between the game there from Friday to Saturday? Were you guys just chomping at the bit to get back out there?
Yeah, we had to stay focused. We came back the next day. We were down, so we knew what we had to get done, and we got it done.
And talking to Coach, you guys are 5-0 right now. I know the goal is not to be 5-5 at the end of the season, not even to be 6-4. A winning record is probably the goal, but how do you guys close out these next 5 games, which are going to be a little bit tougher than your first 5?
We got to take it one game at a time. Right now we got Fairmont. We just got to continue to focus on one game, and we can't think ahead, and we can't get too far ahead of ourselves. So it's all about just focus and keep doing what we're doing.
And we mentioned the win over Carroll, obviously a big win for your program. That was the kind of a team you had to beat to take the next step. 3 of these next 5 games are against Centerville, Wayne, and Northmont. Those are by far the marquee Division I programs in Dayton. I'm not saying you're going to go out and beat all 3 of them, but just to be mentioned in the same sentence with a competitive game with those 3 obviously has to lend to your confidence.
Yeah, those are some big games, and we can't get psyched out from them. We got to go in there and play the way we know how to play without getting psyched.
You talk about your offense. 2 years ago it was basically give the ball to D. Wallace. Last year, basically, Zach takes the snap, does what he can. This year it seems like you have a lot more balance. 5 or 6 guys, and once they touch the ball, are capable of scoring a touchdown.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of surprising people who thought maybe the talent would drop off after those guys left, but it's picked right back up.
Just all the talk around, like everybody's saying how our offense is more as a whole this year. We have plenty of guys that can get the ball and make plays, and that's huge. That's really helped us a lot.
Have you been in the Beavercreek program your whole life?
I've been since 6th grade. That was my first grade.
I would intend probably that 6th grade year the varsity wasn't too good.
No.
Did anybody ever say, why are you playing football at Beavercreek?
I never really heard that before. We just, new coaches when they came in. We could tell it just started changing. And